Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Renee. For those of you that are new here, definitely subscribe to my channel if you like this video and want to see more like this. But I just want to make a quick video, and I hope this isn't crooked. I just found my tripod again, so I'm super excited, and yeah, I'm just happy about that. But I want to make a quick video about like regaining your sense of self, or like finding yourself, and why it's so important. So why it's important. I made videos about this like short form on my TikTok, but I really want to get back to like my channel because I feel like this is where I get most of like my true like message across, and I can kind of go more in depth on YouTube. But I found that you need to maintain a sense of self like throughout any phase of your life, especially though when it comes to your relationships, whether it be romantic or friendship wise or even familial. Like, you do need to maintain a sense of self, not only for yourself and to maintain like a healthy self-esteem and feel good about yourself and feel fulfilled and feel like content at the end of the day when you go to sleep at night, like just to feel like that sense of like peace and like contentment, but also to protect like the integrity of your relationships and to strengthen your relationships and to make sure that you're having healthy ones. So that's why it's important. And the way that it shows up in romantic relationships is like, okay, so I feel like ladies, right, we're so prone to just like, once we fall in love with someone or once we really like someone, it's almost like a behavior where you just kind of forget about yourself and you just become all involved with that person. Like, you're just suddenly consumed with like thoughts of them, and you're, without knowing, sometimes we can fall into this thing of like needing that person to validate us and needing that person to like us or think we look beautiful or love us so that we can feel good about ourselves and feel like complete as a person. But it's true what they say about a relationship being two people that are happy and content within themselves coming together to make a bond. And you both have to be healthy in order to have a healthy relationship. And part of that is having a sense of self and knowing who you are. And as soon as you lose that, especially like, I'll just speak from like a female perspective because I'm a woman, I feel like as soon as you lose that, like, the respect is lost for you on their side, because there's no person for them to like fall in love with because you're not even there. You've kind of like lost yourself, if that makes sense. So yeah, okay, kind of had to switch it up a little bit, but yeah, so basically like as soon as you lose that in a relationship, that person also loses respect for you and can in turn start mistreating you. And I've read something about this, how it's like literally like just a human like instinctual behavior, like psychologically, but it can even on the more extreme end become like dangerous, because as soon as you start like tolerating disrespect from somebody, there's no telling where that can go, you know, that can end very badly. So there's something to be said about keeping that, like keeping your individuality and your purpose and your sense of self, and that's always going to apply. Like, even say you get the dream person that you want to be with, you're still going to need to know who you are, what you like, and you're going to need to have your own life and your own interest and your own sense of purpose, because nobody can give that to you. And I've even seen it play out in a relationship dynamic where if one person is feeling very fulfilled and has a sense of purpose in their life and like is excited and motivated every day because of that, and the other person is lacking that, like somehow there's like resentment created within the relationship toward each other. And it's just like this, you know, strange but like, you know, sobering like dynamic that we should all pay attention to. So yeah, I just feel like, especially for women, it's very easy to lose our identity once we're in a relationship, especially because of all of the roles that we play. Like, whether you're somebody's girlfriend or somebody's wife or you're your mother, you know, like we play so many different roles, and we can't let those roles define us and lose the person that we were before we stepped into that role, if that makes sense. But it's just so important to maintain that even when you're in a relationship. And of course, like when you're single and when you're doing your own thing, it's easier. But like as soon as you're attached to somebody, like in a romantic sense, especially I've seen personally, it becomes even more important because you don't want to lose yourself ever. But especially like in relationships and stuff, if you want to maintain like that like foundational level of respect between each other and your sense of peace, which I think is like the most important thing, right? Like there's no substitute for that feeling. So I've definitely fallen into like losing myself in relationships, but I've also at one point like had such a strong sense of self and individuality, and I was with somebody who I think was still trying to develop that, and that created like, you know, conflict between us. And then something that I'm seeing now is like, it doesn't matter who is in front of me, it doesn't matter who I'm dating, who I'm in a relationship with. If I'm not happy with myself, if I'm not feeling fulfilled with like my own life, if I'm not feeling like my cup is full, or like I have like a sense of purpose outside of it, then it's not going to work out because I'm not going to be happy, and I'll try and fill that void with, you know, male validation, or just like become like boy crazy. I heard something about how like when you're boy crazy, it's because you're using that as a distraction to like not focus on yourself and to not like do the inner work that it takes to like validate yourself. Like you're using somebody to validate you. You're using another person, an external source, to make you feel good about the person that you are, because you can't do that for yourself, because you don't have a sense of self. You've lost yourself. You don't have your identity. So yeah, okay, so that's why it's important. But how do we go about finding our sense of self again? That's something that's been like a huge theme for me this year, because I feel like as you grow, like obviously you change and your needs become different. And especially something interesting that I've noticed this year is like the more of your goals that you like fulfill, and like the more of your dreams that come true, it's like you have to do even more work on yourself to figure out where you're going next, because it's healthy to have goals to strive for, and that's how like you remain motivated even if you're creating them for yourself. So I've been in this like really interesting position where a lot of the things that I've wanted have come true, and I've almost had like periods of like stagnation because I almost like don't even know what to strive for next, because for so long I wanted to be like where I am now, if that makes sense. So that plays a part in my life, obviously, but it also plays a part in my relationships, because if I'm not like doing what I can for myself, or if I see like I need to, that's the work that I have to do with myself. It's like reconnect with my purpose and like, you know, do all of those kinds of things. So yeah, once I started thinking about that and like realized that maybe I'm looking for something that nobody can really give me, which is that like, you know, sense of self again, I started thinking about what are like things that I can do to kind of get back in touch with myself, that will make me feel more fulfilled, that will make me feel challenged, and just like I'm living up to more of my potential. Because whether we like it or not, like we can say we want to like do nothing all day and just like lounge around, and like that's the ideal life, and just have everything handed to us. But at the end of the day, that's not going to make you happy. Like we need things to strive for in order to create our confidence. Once we do things, once we put our mind to something and we actually do them and we see them come true, we become more confident. That's just kind of how it works. And we build our self-esteem, and we have the courage to like go after other things in life, and that's where we get our fulfillment. If we're not doing anything and we're not striving for anything, it's very easy to fall into a place where you have low self-esteem, or just like negative emotions that you don't want to be experiencing, like lethargy. Did I say that right? Is it lethargy or lethargy? I think it's lethargy. So yeah, what are some ways that we can kind of regain our sense of self and get back in touch with our identity and like our personal like purpose, and get that sense of like fulfillment and contentedness every on an everyday basis? What I found for myself is that it's interesting because like I have so many like different interests and like hobbies and stuff, but as I'm growing and as I'm getting older, like they are changing, and the same things that used to like bring me fulfillment don't necessarily bring as much anymore. So I've had to like really rediscover like what I like and what my interests are. But one thing I noticed that I think was taking away from my sense of self was not making the most of my time. And it's not necessarily like not being productive, because I'm actually working right now. Like I can work all day for my job and I'll be busy and I'll be like quote unquote productive. But is that gonna make me feel like fulfilled and like content at the end of the day? Like, no, not completely. Like it does play a role in my life. Like I do think work serves a purpose. Even if it's not tied to like your absolute passion, I think there's a purpose for it, and I can appreciate that. But at the same time, like I need to do other things to feel, especially like I identify as somebody who's pretty creative. So like if I'm not being creative, I found that that's actually like draining my energy. Like I need to be creative in order to basically be content and be happy. Like that's just something that I have to do. So I've had to rediscover what ways I can be creative that's gonna bring me that sense of joy again. And I started to, so yeah, anyways, I'm basically saying that once I saw that I was not making the most of my time and I had so much free time that I was just filling up with things like using my phone or just like eating and just like, you know, filling the void, in not the healthiest ways, that's when I realized I needed to make better use of my time. So that led me to picking up music again. It's something that I used to do, and it's like it's something that I kind of stopped doing because I almost like didn't see the point. But then I realized that I love it and it's something that I like to do. It fulfills me. It makes me feel like I'm using my voice. It's creative. I get to connect with other artists, like, and I like being in that environment. So I picked that back up, and that put something like back on my like radar to look forward to every week and to do, even if it's just for myself. Like even if that song gets like one play, it's something that I did for myself, but it's something that made me happy. And at the end of the day, it's bringing me that sense of accomplishment. And that's just like because I like to do it, period. It's not for any other reason. Like that brings me my sense of self again, like in terms of like my artistry and my creativity. So that's something that I picked up again. And I would say to anybody looking to regain a better connection with themselves and just feel like more fulfilled is to really explore different hobbies and you know, creative outlets, and just see what sticks and see what you like most. So for me, music is one of those things. Another thing that I wanted to do was, I was kind of debating going to school again and like furthering my education, but I thought about it and I'm like, you know what, I'm not really ready for that kind of commitment yet. And I also am not completely decided on, if I do go back to school, what I want to study. But at the same time, I felt like I was missing like being kind of like intellectually stimulated. So what I did was I signed up for a French class because I always wanted to learn French. I want to go to Paris one of these days. I don't know when, but one of these days. And I feel like it would be cool to learn French. And I've always thought it was a really beautiful language. I have friends that are French. I love French food. I like their culture, their beauty. Like I love a lot of things about how the French live their daily lives. So language is a big part of that. So I signed up for a French class, and then that gave me something else to look forward to. And not only to look forward to, but it gave me a new community to like vibe with, because all of the people that are in my class are all also wanting to learn French, and it's really interesting just meeting new people. They all want to learn it for a different reason. And I feel like community is everything. And having your own like social life outside of like relationships is really important, because that's like key in maintaining your sense of self, is maintaining your own relationships and your own friendships separate from you know, one person. So that was something else that I did to kind of like reinvigorate like my life and kind of just reconnect with the things that I want to do, because I realized traveling is something that I do want to do, and knowing another language doesn't hurt. And it gave me like, it kind of hit that like sweet spot of like wanting to learn something new, but like I didn't necessarily want to go back to school. So that really like has brought me like fulfillment and contentment. So definitely challenge yourself to learn new things and explore like what sounds fun to you, and find a way to make it happen. So those are just kind of some small examples of things that I've been doing to reconnect with my sense of self. because I am a creative person and I do love learning. I like being in kind of like, I guess like an academic environment, but you know, like I said, I wasn't ready to go back to school. So those are kind of two things that I've done. And also back to the point of like community, I feel like just like I know a lot of girls, especially in my age range, like we have trouble making new friends because it's kind of weird. Like you're out of college and now you're in the workforce and you're like, how do I make friends? Like, and especially if you don't like going out to like bars and stuff, like how do you make friends? How do you make like long-term friends and not like an acquaintance that you're gonna see once or twice, or like just be polite with and cordial with? What I found is that joining groups and getting like new hobbies is a great way to make friends because you're already you already have similar interests based on the activity or hobby that you're both like enjoying. So I've actually made a lot of friends this way, and that has also like fulfilled me and made me feel more content, and you know, um, like it's it's a good way to reconnect with yourself because other people are mirrors and relationships are so important. And I'm definitely somebody who used to like really just isolate, but there's no substitute for like connection. And even if you're not interested in dating, like there's friendship. Like friendship is awesome and fulfilling, and I would say even your friends can be your soulmates too, and that's a beautiful thing that I've learned this year. So this is just a quick little message to not lose your identity and your sense of self when you are in a relationship, um, or just ever. Like, just stay true to who you are. And sometimes it takes time to learn what it is that you like, what it is that you want to do. And don't beat yourself up if you haven't figured that out completely. You know, just be curious and put yourself in new environments, learn new things, challenge yourself, make goals for yourself, and then you will find that naturally that sense of purpose and like excitement to just like wake up every day comes back gradually, along with taking care of yourself, because that is like the number one thing I think that influences your mood and your just disposition overall. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a like, leave me a comment. Just want to make more videos on my channel. I think I'm gonna get back into vlogging too, which should be fun. So yeah, let me know what you think, and if you know what I mean when I'm saying that especially women, like we have the tendency to lose our identity in relationships, and why it's important and how it's important, leave a comment down below. Thanks so much for watching this video. Bye. Okay, wait, I actually have one more thing to add because I thought about this a little bit more, and I'm just gonna share like a couple of other things that I've been doing to kind of like re-inspire myself and yeah, get like that sense of self pop in. And so community has been a huge thing for me because like I just feel like relationships and friendships are so important, and it's good to have people that have similar interests as you, and like yeah, that's just always good. But in terms of like getting myself inspired again, especially from like a creative point, I really like, I'm learning French, and something that I've been doing is just like getting into new like niche stuff. So for example, I'm watching like French movies from like the 1960s, and I even have like some of my favorite directors now, Jean-Luc Godard. I probably butchered that, but like I just love the way that he makes his movies, and they really inspire me. So but the thing is that before I started watching them, I intentionally was looking for something to inspire me. So along with the French movies came learning the French language, you know what I mean? So that was just something that I did for myself that kind of like puts me in a different space when I watch those movies, because one, I'm focused on learning the language, and two, I just like the cinema of it all. So that was something that I think helped inspire me. But like I said, it's important for you to find ways that inspire you as well. I've been reading more, and just like different kinds of books. Lately I really like memoirs, and I read memoirs of people that I find like really inspiring, and yeah, that just helps me kind of get in that zone again. And another just like takeaway that I've learned from this whole experience of like recreating your identity actually is kind of, I guess, what I'm doing too, but just like regaining that sense of self and that sense of passion and purpose and fulfillment is that this totally ties into the whole concept of like personal magnetism, because like the more that you feel like secure in yourself, other people see that as well, and other people see you how you view yourself. So if you're not feeling fulfilled, if you're not content, if you feel like you're not doing enough, like that's the energy that you're giving off, and you can't be upset if you feel like you're not developing connections the way that you want to, because you don't really know who you are. So just a reminder that people see you how you see yourself, so it's well worth the time to like revisit the things that you like, spend more time doing things that you like, and just create like a, in the bigger picture, a life that you're really excited about and like grateful to be taking a part of every single day. Like that energy is like magnetic, and that's what's going to attract to you all the people, the opportunities, and like the things that you want in life. So yeah, I just felt like adding that in because that's like another thing that I've really taken away from this whole experience. So yeah, definitely leave me a like or a comment, and most importantly subscribe, because we're almost at 1,000. Bye.